functions and command. By the end of the lesson, our learning objectives one, we should be able to identify the appropriate computer hardware don't write this one. So you should be able to discuss the functions of OS, of operating system, next describe So today we are going to check on the hardware components and operating system, functions and command. And by the end of our lesson today, we are supposed to identify the appropriate computer hardware according to their manufacturer specification. 2, we are supposed to discuss the functions of operating system and describe the commands of the operating system. So before we start with our topic today, last session we had a session. I want us to make a recap or review of what we learned in our last session by the raising up of your hands. Yes? We learned about the classification of computers, and we said they are classified into, yes? They are classified into how many categories? Yeah, one of them. Yes? Functionality. Another one? Purpose. Good. Data handling.
Size or power.
Size
Or
or power. You can clap for them. That is good. And also we learned about the ICT concept. One of the ICT concept was, yes, by the show of hands, the concept of ICT. Yes. Hardware. Yes. Be audible. Sorry. Software. Another component. Another ICT concept. Networking equipment. Good. Telecommunication equipment.
Data management and processing.
Data management and processing. That was good. So you can give them a clap. That was good. So we can remember what we learned in our last lesson. So today we are going to learn something different. Here we are going to look at the key components of hardware. Key components of hardware. We are going to understand according to their manufacturer specification. The way we have written their hardware components, operating system. So we are going to understand according to their manufacturer specification. Today we are going to look at the key components of hardware. The other time we looked at them as generally, but today we are going to look at them, the key components. So when you want to purchase a system or a laptop, there are factors that you consider. Those are the factors that we are calling the manufacturer specification. For example, when you bought your phone or when you bought your laptop, for us who have the laptop, there are some things that we were looking at. For you to purchase that laptop, you are not only just going to the market to purchase any kind of a laptop, but there are requirements that you wanted. That's why you went for a specific type of laptop or desktop. So those are the components, the key components that we're going to, of the hardware that we're going to look up today. So I want us to give it a trial. For example, like today, we said that we're going to buy a computer. What are the requirements that we can observe or we can check on it? Yes, one?
One is the storage capacity of the laptop or computer.
Nice. Storage, you can one requirement you can check for the storage as the manufacturer specification. Yes.
warranty.
Warranty, nice. Sorry? RAM.
the cost of the computer or the laptop?
Good. You can clap for him. We start to appreciate the rest. Yes. Yes, that guy. The other guy who is behind. Yes. Portability, nice. There are some laptops that you cannot carry. Kwanza hii yangu ukiangalia it's a big one. Inanisumbua but tutachange. So pia unaangalia portability, you look for the cost, the speed, the storage, sindio?
Yeah.
All of that. So today we are going to look at the key components of the hardware that when you are going to purchase a laptop or a machine, you should look for. So one of the key components that we are going to look onto is the processor. The processor or the CPU, it looks like this. The processor of the CPU, this is the image of the processor of the CPU. A processor provides the instructions and processing power the computer needs to do its work. Under it, when you're going to purchase a processor, one of the things that you will look up to, you will look for the number of cores or threads, the capability with the motherboard. You will also look for the power consumption. How does it consume power? Is it consuming much power, or you are going also to look for intended purpose when you are purchasing the processor. Is it for gaming? Is it for workstation? Or is it for server? The other component that we are going to look up to, I just want to show you the images. Anytime we are going to write the notes, you know what we are looking at. There's a motherboard. The function of a motherboard is a computer, central communication, backbone connection point through which all components and external peripherals connect. The components such as the keyboard, the mouse, they connect directly. When you connect them using the cables, they connect directly to the motherboard. This is a motherboard. Here is where the CPU stays. Tumeona CPU. Hapa ni CPU inakaa hapa. So motherboard generally is this image that stores everything that is found in the computer or the processor itself. So that is an image of a motherboard. Another image that you are going to look for is a memory or a RAM. RAM stands for random access memory. So the function of a memory RAM, RAM is a temporary memory bank where your computer store data. It needs to retrieval quickly. RAM keeps the data easily accessible to you, so you can quickly find it without having to do into long-term storage to complete immediate processing tasks. Simply, a RAM is a storage storage device in a computer system. It is used to store data whereby you can easily retrieve or access the data that you need. Another key component that you are going to look onto is there is a storage, HDD and SDD. HDD stands for hard disk drive. SDD stands for solid state drive. So this is a solid state drive. This is a hard disk. This is the newest hard drive that is being used in the newest technology. Initially we used to use this one, but this one is the coming up. Iko in this form. Najua hii tumekutana nayo, si ndio? HDD. These are the images. So there are two, kuna HDD and SDD. In your books, just like I want you to go and research, because this is the newest type of drive that has arrived in our technology today. So I want you to go and look for the differences. The difference between HDD and SDD. You can write it at the back of your book. The difference, so that you can come up with the difference. We will check it in our next lesson. The difference between SSD and HDD. So in case you find someone ask you what is SDD, you know what is it. What is HDD? You know what is it. The other one is, yes,
is SDD replaceable?
Yeah, you can replace it. You can replace it.
So it is it an inbuilt or you fix, maybe you can fix it after purchasing the laptop or computer?
I can say an example of Lenovo laptops. When you buy a Lenovo, the smaller one, you find it with SSD. It does not have the HDD. You find it with SSD, meaning whereby you can, okay, you can replace it. Maybe if you want to replace it, it's just the same way you can replace the hard disk when it has a problem or umejaribu kuitengeneza na imekataa. Yeah, you can replace it. You just go and purchase it. Maybe you can find, wakati unanunua hizo laptops kuna kwanga na warranty. They tell you if it does not function to the period, kama maybe wamekupa maximum of 1 year or 1.5 or 2, you go and report, they can replace it for you. They can give you another one. So it is replaceable, you can replace it. The other one that you're going to check out is graphic card. It's also known as video card. What is the function of a graphic card? It is used to process. It is used in processing hardware components responsible for rendering and displaying images, videos, and animations on your computer monitor. Si pia kwa simu zetu tuko na the graphic cards. But in this case, we are going to look at on the computers. Even in the computers, we have the graphic cards that is used to display the images, videos, the animations on your monitor, on your computer monitor. Anytime that umepatana na the videos, the images zenye ziko kwa lapi, this graphical card supports the images. So kama hakuna graphic cards, hauwezi access the images in your laptop or the computers. The other key component that you're going to look up to is the power supply unit. Power supply unit is simply these wires, the connection. They supply the power, whereby they convert the alternate current from a wall socket of mains electrically to a low voltage direct currently to operate the motherboard, processor, and peripheral devices. What are peripheral devices? Someone to give it a trial, yes?
These are special designed devices which are connected to the system unit through special cables called the interface.
Example of a peripheral? Yes? Example? Yes? USB. Another trial? Peripheral? Yes? Mouse, nice, good. Mouse, another one? Keyboard, nice. So those are the examples of peripheral. We have seen that power supply, it is used to connect them to the main electrical. It converts the alternate current from a wall socket, kama hii, a wall socket, and electrically to a low voltage directly to the operating motherboard, processor, and peripheral devices. So the other components, key components that you are going to look up to is we have the cooling solution, air or liquid. This is used only for cooling. Sometimes kama hii lapi yangu venye nimeitumia sasa, ama tukifungua hizi lapi, at times unapata imeheat. So there are cooling solutions. Kuna kama fan, they are of different types. So mimi nilikam up na this one. It is used for, iko na some zinaitwaje ventilations zenye zinasaidia hewa kutoka nje na kurudi for the cooling purposes of the machine. The other components that you are going to look on, the key components, kuna the case. Case ni kama hii. This is a case. Hizo vitu zote zenye tumeangalia, all the components, the key components, most of them they are found inside the case. Here is the case. And we can see most of the components ambazo tumeangalia, they are found here. This is a motherboard, whereby we can find all the other key components that help the computer to cooperate or to operate effectively. So we have seen a case. A computer case, also known as a computer chassis, is the enclosure that contains most of the hardware of a personal computer. So another key component that you are going to look into their peripherals. We say the examples were, some of us were the mouse, we have the monitor, we have different kinds, there are headphones here, these are peripheral devices. We cannot see them very well, but kuna hizo mouse, kuna monitor, kuna keyboard, we have the headphones. Those are types of the peripheral devices, and you have said a computer peripheral is a device that is connected to a computer but is not part of the core computer architecture. Yani imeconnectiwa. So unaona kama mouse is connected to it through a cable. Keyboard the same way. So they are not connected to the computer directly. So they are in different categories. Kuna the inputs and the outputs, peripheral devices. These are devices that is connected to a computer but is not part of the core computer architecture. So the last one, I think this is the last one, operating system. An operating system is the most important software that runs on a computer. It manages the computer memory and processes as well as all of its software and hardware. It also used to communicate with the computer with knowing how to speak the computer language. So operating system generally, it is connected to most of the software that run in a computer. Those are the software, it's connected mostly to the software that runs into a computer. And here we can see in our image whereby the operating system has been connected to the monitor, it is connected to the printer. Like any activity that you want to do using your computer, you need to have an operating system for it to function or to operate. So the operating system, we can say it is the general or it's the key. Without the operating system, you cannot operate anything using your computer. So we have it's connected to the applications, those are the apps, the hard drive, the keyboard, the mouse, the printer. When I click my keyboard and give it a command, we see the operating system is able to interpret the language of the mouse and give out the output on the monitor. Or when you want to print a document, the operating system, when you operate the printer, the operating system will communicate to what you want to print out, and then it will print automatically through the connection of a printer, which we have said a printer also is an example of a peripheral device. Sindio? Yeah. So those are part of the key components of operating system that I wanted you to see the images before we write the manufacturer specification. So in your books, just write key components and their specification. Key components and their specification. Key components and their specification. One of the key components that you have seen is a processor, right? Processor or a CPU. What do you need to check when you are purchasing a processor or a CPU? We will write manufacturers. First of all, manufacturers. It is manufactured by the Intel. Right? Manufacturers, Intel. Apple. A-P-P-L-E. Apple. Those are the manufacturers of the processor or the CPU. Another one you can write AMD. So when you are purchasing a CPU, which is manufactured by the Intel, the AMD, the Apple, there are factors that you need to consider. One of the factors, just write selection factors for the processor. One of them, write clock speed. The other one, write number of cores. The other one, write compatibility with the motherboard. In bracket, write socket type. compatibility with the motherboard, in bracket, write socket type. The other factor to consider, you will consider power consumption. Power consumption. Power consumption. The other factor you will consider intended use of the CPU or the processor. The intended use of the CPU or the processor. Under the intended use, you can write e.g. gaming. Is your laptop or the machine that you are purchasing, are you going to use it for gaming, workstation, or as a server? So you need to check on those manufacturer specification. You will check on the clock speed, the number of cores or threads, compatibility with the motherboard, power consumption, and lastly the intended use, which we have said, is it for gaming, is it for workstation, or to serve as a server. The other key component that you are going to look at is the motherboard. So the manufacturers of motherboard are, write the gigabytes. Then write selection factors when you want to purchase a computer. Motherboard, I said motherboard. Manufacturer, write gigabytes. GIGABYTE. So the selection factors which we'll consider, one of them is CPU socket compatibility. CPU socket compatibility. CPU socket compatibility. Another factor you will consider, it is form factor. It's form factor. Form factor. Is it a micro or a mini? Form factor. Is it a micro or a mini? Another factor that you will consider the RAM slot type. RAM slot type and capacity. RAM slot type and capacity. RAM slot type and capacity. Another factor to consider, expansion slots. Are you able to expand it when you want more space? Expansion slots. Are you able to expand the SSD slots? There, another one you will need to check on is the connectivity. In bracket, write USB ports. Connectivity, in bracket, write USB ports, Ethernet, Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi. Connectivity of the USB ports, Ethernet or Wi-Fi. Another thing that we'll consider is BIOS. Just write BIOS. BIOS supports. BIOS supports. BIOS supports. The other one is memory. Or RAM. In bracket, write RAM. RAM stands for RAM access memory, random access memory. Manufacturers, you can write Corsair. Just write like this.